Hey everyone, how you doing? Welcome back to Friday with Dannphan. Look at us. We're in a new location, as you can probably tell. Um, yeah, I'm actually over Adam's house right now. This is where he was thinking he was going to set up his own videos eventually when he actually starts making videos for his own YouTube channel. But yeah, so right now I've decided to record Friday with Dannphan over here. See how this works out. The lighting is about as bad, but there is like it's a smaller room, so the light is reflecting off the wall onto me, which creates this odd glow every now and then. Whoa, the lighting. Oh yeah, the light is such an improvement. It's we'll work with it. We'll do what we can. And I've noticed that a lot of my mods aren't usually on my streams anymore. So I do have to make new mods, don't I? Maybe I should pick some mods out for this stream. Who wants to be a moderator? I have to leave StreamYard though, unfortunately, because it's not gonna let me do it on here. I have to go onto my YouTube channel, I think. I don't know what's the best way to do it, but I think I just click on people's names in the chat and just hit add mod, and that should work out. How's everyone's Friday, by the way? Everyone having a good time? All right, Gabe the Jen, you are a mod. Congratulations. Revzet, congratulations, you've been promoted to mod. All mods. There you go. Kick all the bad people out of the chat. uh, oh, thanks for the donation, Maverick Christian. Here we are just starting, and he's already dropping a donation. Oh no, Dannphan is trapped in the 1970s. Oh yeah, this is like a kind of 70s wall, isn't it? Oh well. We'll work with what we can get. You can hear me fine, right? Because I also have like the microphone fairly far away from me. So I'm worried that if I speak too low, I have a fairly low voice naturally. And if I speak too low, I'm worried that the microphone is just not going to pick me up. I'm just going to go below the human hearing. Only like special animals will be able to hear my voice if I just speak way too low. It's been a fairly okay week for me. I don't know how you guys are feeling about it, but it's been okay. We got a few things to talk about, but first and foremost, I guess I should be giving an update on obviously the campaign that's going on right now. This is for my second book of the Orgasm Girl series. For those of you who don't know, yes, it will get me demonetized every time I bring it up, unfortunately. But we got to bring it up sometime, and it might as well be during the live streams. So, yes, I did a comic called Orgasm Girl not too long ago, but not my most recent comic, you know. And the basic idea was to just do a fun parody action comedy and play around with, you know, uh, a niche that I wasn't really super familiar with, but very interested in, if you know what I mean. So I have the sequel to that funding now. If you picked up the first book, you'll probably want to get the second. So it's always good just to remind people that it's funding so that you know that it exists. So check that out. We are on the first week now, and we're almost completely at the goal. Almost. Just a little inch off. I'm sure we'll get there. I'm not entirely too worried. I'll also have more guests on. Sorry, I keep on knocking the table with my tiny knees. I'll have some more guests on for the next 2 weeks. Got some people popping in and sharing their own indie comics. I was so disappointed when I saw the recent YouTube poll that I put up. Indie comics aren't getting any love. Although granted, the question was, what do you read the most of? Which is always important to pick apart what the actual question is, because just because people read indie comics, maybe it's not what they're reading the most of. Granted, indie comics need more love. You need to read more indies, guys. There's a lot of great ones out there, and I would be more than happy to host some of them on the channel, just so you know. Just so you know they exist also. So, yes, now we got that out of the way, we can start talking about topics, the weekly topics. Anything you want me to talk about, you just bring it up in the chat and we will chat about it, because that's what Fridays with Dannphan are for. They're for all the topics that I didn't make videos about, that maybe I should have, but didn't, so I just threw all the topics onto a live stream instead. So I guess one of the things that people are talking about is the fact that Sony is actually getting rid of Funimation, or well, slowly phasing out Funimation, and they're going to have everything on Crunchyroll rather instead. All of their licensed properties are all going to Crunchyroll. I mean, like, people thought it was going to be the opposite, where Crunchyroll was the one that was going to get phased out, because yeah, you could it's lesser known than Funimation, but at the same time, there's a lot of things that Funimation is known for that isn't exactly positive. For example, the whole controversy with Vic Mignogna. Funimation has also gotten a lot of heat for changing translations just to be funny. And yeah, there was also that one voice actor from Funimation who was sending his pickle pics to a minor. So that wasn't good. That wasn't all not very good press for Funimation. But there's also another thing about Funimation, is that the Funimation website is not very good. The Crunchyroll website is much better as far as being interactive and easier to find things, easier to use. So maybe that's also one of the reasons why they're just like, okay, forget Funimation, we're going to put everything on Crunchyroll, merge them. But everyone kind of knew that a merge was happening as soon as Sony bought Crunchyroll. I mean, it's just kind of obvious that you would want to merge them all together and put all the anime in one place. But yeah, it is interesting that they're putting their money on the Crunchyroll brand name rather than the Funimation brand name. But yeah, I mean, I'm not opposed. Not opposed. Like I said, Crunchyroll's website is better. And I mean, they also have their own share of controversies, Crunchyroll as well, but probably not as bad or as well known as the Funimation controversies. Because, like, what does Crunchyroll have? They have High Guardian Spice, basically. They have, like, High Guardian Spice and Webtoon Originals when they said that they were going to give the money to Japan, right? And that was pretty bad. Don't get me wrong, but at least none of their voice actors are, well. Anyway, let's hear some of your thoughts. Kind of figured that Sony would get rid of one of their services, though I thought it would be Crunchyroll being merged into Funimation. Yeah, that's what a lot of people thought. I was pretty shocked, honestly. Much better in this case doesn't mean much. Yeah, but basically. Crunchyroll is easily the first one to come in mind for anime streaming services. Yeah, that's another thing. I imagine that they want to capitalize on the streaming service thing, because everyone wants to, every single network, they all want to be streaming services. And it makes sense, because that's good income if you have someone on a subscription service. But yeah. There's way too many streaming services these days. I mean, it's not like I'm going to get every single properties streaming. Like, who the fuck is going to buy Paramount Plus? You know what I mean? Doesn't that like just whatever? I guess some Nickelodeon fans out there would be like super into Paramount Plus, I guess. I don't know. If you really want to see the new Knuckles TV show, you gotta get that Paramount Plus, right? So weird. All right. What are you saying here? Was it ever confirmed that Crunchyroll actually used the donated money to fund High Guardian Spice? Well, it's not all of it is profit, right? The money that they get for their subscription services is profit to them. They say that they put it towards licensing out Japanese stuff so that it's going directly to Japan. That was their big flex, is that they're all putting their money towards actual Japanese animators to get the shows. But yeah, and then when they were announcing Crunchyroll originals, they found out that they didn't put all of the money to Japanese anime. They were putting it to their own projects, and some of it did go to anime. Some of it did go to like some manga series and were adapted into. Some of them were really bad too. I think Tonikawa was probably one of the better ones, right? And one of the worst ones, X Arm. X Arm was pretty bad, and High Guardian Spice, of course. But High Guardian Spice is the big one because it was also not from Japan. Like at least X Arm, they were adapting a manga series. They did terribly, granted, but at least it came from Japan, right? And then yeah, High Guardian Spice was just American, super Western, and it was really bad. And nobody wanted it. Thank you for the donation, Dakari. Hi, Captain Dannphan. I hope you and your loved ones are well. What app do you recommend when an artist wants to start making digital art? What app specifically for the phone? Like if you're taking pictures of your art, or or do you just mean like a website in general for sharing your own art? I've heard that Instagram is super good for sharing art. Granted, I don't use Instagram as much as I should probably, because I'm willing to bet that they're right, that Instagram is really good for sharing your art, considering that it's all very photo based, and I think that it's fairly easy to get likes on Instagram. Um, Plus, advertising on Instagram, I hear, is pretty good. At least it gets good reach from what I hear. I can't imagine that link clicking would be very good for Instagram, considering that they won't let you post links in your posts. That sucks. Yeah. Get with the times, Instagram. But yeah, I don't use it as much. People tell me that it's amazing and that I should use it more often. A lot of the pictures that I actually post on Instagram are usually just blog pictures, like what I'm doing. And I mean, that's all fun stuff, right? But I don't usually, I should post there more often. I just don't. Um, yeah, I don't know. I don't know too many sites or apps that are super good for artists. So I guess the only recommendation I can think of is Instagram, because people keep on telling me that that's way better than I give it credit for. And they're probably right. I'm just bad at it, I guess. Phone or computer wise, yeah. Yeah, well, you can use Instagram on the computer now. You couldn't always use it with the browser, but now they changed up their code and they made it super usable on the browser, which I'm happy with, because I kept on forgetting about it on my phone. I find it easier to check accounts through the browser. But yeah, I thought they meant drawing, painting apps. Unless you're like talking about programs to draw or paint on, but I'm assuming that you're I was assuming that he was talking about like posting art, you know? Clip Studio Paint is great, Sketchbook also. Yeah, that's what you're Clip Studio Paint is the best. If you're talking about like programs, yeah, Clip Studio Paint for sure. That's my favorite. I worked on Photoshop for a bit. That was okay, right? And then I used GIMP because that was like the free version of Photoshop. GIMP is kind of bad, but whatever. And I got Clip Studio Paint on sale actually, and it was super cheap. It was like $25, and it's so good. It was so great. But yeah, I've never looked back. I don't need any other program anymore because I have Clip Studio Paint, and it just does so much. And it was fairly easy to learn too. As far as like programs that I had to do with an extreme learning curve with, Clip Studio was fairly intuitive. Except for the animation. I'm not a super fan of their animation extension, but you know, yeah. I guess it's better than OpenTuneZ. I could not learn OpenTuneZ. It's too much. It gives me a heart attack just thinking about it. Ugh. It would get glitchy too. It's like when it was exporting, all of a sudden frames are just flying all over the place. And it's like, I didn't do that. What are you doing? Program is rebelling against me, you know? My version doesn't even allow animation. It says, yeah. They have the extended version to get longer animations in. Granted, you can still like use the animation part of Clip Studio, just like the regular Clip Studio, and you can just export the frames and you can put it in another program to animate it, which is what I've done in the past. But yeah, as far as I've heard, spending the extra to get the full version of Clip Studio and actually getting the whole animation extension, a lot of people just tell me that it's not worth it. That it's just not worth the huge jump in price. And granted, it is a big jump in price from like the regular to the Pro X or whatever they call it. I don't know. Um, I don't even know what the super golden plated version of Clip Studio is called, like Expert or something like that. But yeah, I've asked people about it, and they just say wait until they add more features to the full version of Clip Studio, and then you can buy it, right? Which I feel like is fair. Obviously, you want to get the most out of your purchase when you do get it. I would get the upgrade just for the extract lines tool on 3D objects. Yes, I would want that too, honestly. You can find ways to do it, obviously, you know, on the regular Clip Studio. It's just more tedious than just having an AI do it. But yeah, I also don't know how well the AI works. There was this one tool that they were testing out for a while where it was like automatic fill. It was like automatic coloring, basically, where you just like, you know, you scribble some colors around the line art and then you use the AI and the AI will fill in the rest of it. And you could get some really cool effects with that AI. But it was supposed to make animation a lot faster by just um by just getting through the frames, just like slash 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 slash, and then have the AI fill in with that color that you slashed, which was really interesting. It didn't work totally well, of course. It was usually like really blurry and watercolory when they did the auto color, but it had an interesting effect that I kind of had fun playing with. But yeah, I think that Clip Studio is just going to keep on expanding with like the different AI and the different tools in the future. So if you wanted to get the full version, you should wait until like they get something that you really, really want, you know? But yeah, the version I got, $25 for all the stuff that the program came with was like a super good deal. And they have a lot of sales very often. So you might want to hold out for one of those sales. And I think it would be a really worthy purchase. I really do. Think do you see yourself working at an anime studio one day? Not in particular. I don't think I'm quite qualified. Not that it wouldn't be fun, of course. But you know, I'm not a super good animator. I wanted to be an animator for a long time, but you know, just spent too much time not practicing and studying all the wrong things. If I could redo my life, like do one of those reincarnated isekai things where I can redo my life from all the knowledge that I learned in this life, I would have started my career so early. Like I would have started studying and practicing super hard as a teenager. Not, I mean, even younger than that, probably. And I would be making connections wherever I possibly could. But, you know, kind of too late now. Now I kind of have to just roll with life and see where it takes me. Real life Dannphan edition. Yes. Yes. I wish that would be, I mean, you know everything that you're supposed to do with all that adult knowledge. You just don't know when you're a kid. You get like advice from adults who don't really know what they're talking about. And yeah, then you end up in an awkward position where you're like being pulled in three different directions. You're not really sure which direction you should be going in. And you take a gamble. But that's the thing, when you like try to do a lot of different things at the same time, you kind of end up amateur in all those things rather than a pro in any of those things. You got to really focus on something that you want to do to get the best at it. You know, I was reincarnated as an animator. That could be a manga series. Yes. 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 You know how we go. I love chat. Being reincarnated as an animator sounds like a harder creative career. Yeah. Well, comics are hard too. Granted. Not as hard as animating, but yeah. I think it's very deceptive how long comics actually take because of the manga industry, really. They just have like such crazy deadlines. And granted, they have a lot of work done ahead of time, but because of how fast a lot of manga releases are, people think that comics are just made fast. Like they're just easier. And they're not. They're really not easy. They take a while. But you know, granted, maybe they just have a better workflow scheduled out with manga because they do have kind of a pass the page type deal. Um, and you know, a lot of indies were just like doing everything ourselves. But I mean, we were just talking about like the Orgasm Girl campaign, right? And basically, what I got going on with Ramaz, with that, he lines the art, gives it to me, and I color it. So as he's finishing the book, I'm also finishing the coloring. And that feels good. It feels good to have two different jobs being done at the same time at a good rate because it feels like the work is actually being done quicker. But a lot of times, what happens when you have a team working on a comic is that one person will be late, and that'll make the next person late, which will make the next person late, and then and then when the person gets the work done, now this person is late, and this, you know, there's just a lot of things that you can't account for, especially because people don't really do comics full time, or at least most people don't do comics full time. You know, that's the dream, is to be able to do comics full time one day. But yeah, So it gets hard to reach deadlines when you have a whole other life that you gotta keep track of, and oof, you know? Manga is also fast because it's black and white, usually with a team. Yes, very true, very true. I want to do black and white comics. I want to do as many black and white comics as I can. Uh, yeah, I think Sonic City Witch will probably be my last colored comic once I do the campaign for that. And I really want to do a bunch of black and white comics because they're faster, but also because I actually do like the style of black and white. And that is something that a lot of people disagree with me about, but whatever. My comics. But now Sonic City Witch is one of those comics where I envisioned it being in color. So of course I'll do that one in color eventually. But overall, I like I like to do black and white comics, and I like the style of black and white comics, and I'd like to do more of them. It's not just because I'm cheap. I just actually do like it. But you know how it is. You need like a shit ton of people for manga and comics. It's like a squadron and team. Yeah. Yeah, it is. It's I mean, it's super motivating though to see like a bunch of people passionate about a project, like working really hard to get those deadlines out there. But my God, they should, they really should take more breaks. Japan is fucking crazy with working people to death. Eh, it makes me feel bad. You need to be well off to do manga, just like from Ranking of Kings. You stop corporate at 40 to go to manga, so never stop achieving your dream. I just recently watched the first episode of Rankings of Kings today. I must admit, I'm a little bit surprised. I see this cartoony main character, and I'm thinking that it's going to be like one of those wholesome slice of life-ish animes that's like just kind of set in medieval times, but it's really about the drama and the wholesome aw moments. And then I watched the first episode, and there's like war and fighting and a plot. And I mean, it's still wholesome, it's still sweet in sections. I just wasn't expecting there to be like an air of seriousness behind the first episode, and the animation is so fucking good. What the fuck? I pick up this like cartoony anime expecting it to be cartoony and silly, and then you just get like this super great animated fight scene, and I'm like, what the fuck? I wasn't expecting that. It's good. It's good. I'm gonna keep watching it naturally. I'll probably finish it and do a video on it. But yeah, I'm pretty excited to keep watching that one. And it's also funny because I was thinking, oh, Adam probably wouldn't want to watch this with me because it's like the main character is all like cutesy and chibi, and he doesn't really like chibi stuff. He doesn't like the cutesy stuff as much as people like us do. But then I'm watching it and I'm like, oh shit, I think Adam might actually be into this, maybe. I don't know. The original manga art is simplistic, but writing carries it. Yeah. Yeah, for real though. Anyway, so long as we're on the topic of animation though, I should also share with you, let me see. Yeah, I gotta figure out how to share screens. I don't know if you guys have seen this, the hashtag New Deal for Animation. I just got introduced to this recently on the Twitters. Originally, I heard about it through a Craig McCracken tweet. Maybe I should show that one first then, in that case. Oh, thank you for the donation, my dude. Thanks. Jagar, what happened to the prison song you were going to upload? Did you do it? Prison. I think that was the one song that I lost while I was transferring my videos onto this channel. But yeah, I would have to, you see, I don't have the video if I lost the video, then that means that it's basically gone forever. So I would have to re-record myself doing the song and then put it up on YouTube. And I've just like not played the guitar in so long. I guess I fell out of habit, and I'm pretty sure that I'll suck at it once I pick up the guitar again. So it's just one of those things where I haven't gotten around to doing it because I don't want the video to be shitty if I'm trying to redo a video that I did on my last channel and put it back up. But I'll get to it, probably. I hope. I'd like to have as many of my songs as I could up on YouTube, because then I can solidify their existence, right? And man, I really wish I could just like, hang on. Yeah, I just have to stop sharing screen and then share a different. That's so, it's irritating. Anyway, yeah, so this was the tweet that I originally saw that like introduced me to this. Craig McCracken, I follow him on Twitter because I was a huge fan of Craig McCracken in the day. He made a lot of cartoons that I enjoyed, you know. And he said, I have been working in television animation for the past 30 years, and 2 of my most successful projects were not produced under the conditions that artists face today. There was another tweet that he had followed up with this. There it is. In the past 10 years, I have watched the demands for quality rise, the trust and faith in talent decline, and the schedules remain mostly the same. It's time for a new deal. And then he put all the hashtags out, and I had no idea what the heck he was talking about. I thought he was talking about like shitty working conditions, like you know, Japan. Japan has terrible working conditions for a lot of animators. So I tweeted, I was curious. I said, really, how have the conditions changed? Not sarcastically, but genuinely like curious about how the conditions changed. So he actually responded with a quote tweet. He said, storyboards used to be about 300 pages of 3 panels on paper. There were no voices, no timing, no music, no animation, and executives would read them and trust we would turn it into a cartoon. Today, you have to make it to get approval to make it. So it wasn't necessarily about working conditions from what this sounds like. It sounds like more so he's talking about the idea that you have to, that studios or networks basically want you to have the cartoon done already before you actually get to sell your cartoon through the studio. And if you've done your cartoon already, you might as well go indie. You know how that is. But to some extent, I kind of get that. I kind of get what they're talking about here when they're talking about this, because there's definitely a lot of people who just put all of their time and effort into a passion project, hoping it'll be picked up by a network. And networks are looking for those because they want something easy to just pick up, something that's already done, right? It makes sense. A lot of people want to fund their own pilots so that they can fund the whole show, just because, you know, not because they'll get a good deal out of it, but because they want to get their creative work out there. But yeah, so maybe this also isn't the best way of explaining what actually is going on, though, with the hashtag. So let's just go over to actually showing the hashtag itself. And yeah, well, it is kind of Cuphead related, which is a show that I did a video for. So that's important, right? But thanks for another donation, Jagar. Saying probably is like only acknowledging the smoothie in your hand and not the llama standing behind you. That's an interesting saying. I don't know what you mean, but it's okay. Yeah. First build the network, then make the project. Interesting words. Anyway, so what they're actually talking about here is Netflix announced that the Cuphead show was being renewed for season 2, and it's coming this summer, which you might think, hmm, hmm, that's kind of quick to get a season 2 out there. Well, as it turns out, and I kind of thought this in my review while I was going over it. I thought to myself, season 1 seems really short. There's only 2 minute, there's only 10-minute episodes and only 12 episodes in total. Shouldn't there be like 24 episodes if they're only 10 minutes long? Isn't that like the normal? It's just kind of bizarre. It's just kind of weird. I don't know what that's about. As it turns out, yes, the Cuphead show was supposed to be 24 10-minute episodes in the first season. They split the season into 2 seasons and then they're acting like it's being renewed for a season 2, but really they just split it up. So a little shady on their part. Not the first time that they've done this, of course. Obviously, Revelation got split up into 2 seasons. Yeah, I'm sure there are other examples, but you get what's going on here, right? So the first top comment that I guess gets recommended says, "Oh well, now it's gone. Thanks, Twitter. Thanks for updating the exact moment where I was about to read a tweet. So great. Where did the tweet go? God damn it, Twitter! You're the worst website ever." Nah, whatever. All right, so this is picking up steam, I guess. 15,000 supporters strong on this petition. Pay crafts and animation fairly. We need a new deal for animation for everyone, from writers to storyboarders to design to animators. All right, well, can we get to specifics? As a reminder that stunts like this, where they call an extension of season 1, season 2, to avoid proper payment. This is why we should continue to push for better pay for animation writers and animators. So the idea is that they split up the seasons just to avoid giving them raises, or just to avoid giving them more payment for season 2. Or at least that's what they're saying is the reason. It might also be because Cuphead was just already late and they wanted to get it out quickly. Same, like I said, same thing with Revelation, where they just like had to get it out there and they really should have just waited for it to all be done, but they didn't do that. You know how it is. Thanks for the donation, Sukasa. Always love your videos. Also, that fake wood panel background reminds me of my childhood. Yes, this is the bedroom of many a childhoods, I'm sure. Yeah, it is a very shady tactic, granted, to split up the first season and then act like you have 2 seasons. It's like, come on, man. Obviously people are going to call you out on that. But yeah. Now it's the whole conversation has started with this Cuphead announcement and people calling them out for just splitting up the first season into 2 seasons, because that's obviously what they did. But everyone's kind of not agreeing what exactly the problem is. Like they're all saying a bunch of stuff, and it's always a bunch of different stuff that they're demanding. But for the most part, the main thing that they're demanding is just more money. You know what I mean? like some people say, oh, it's the storyboarders who are getting screwed over. Other people saying, no, 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 no. It's the writers that are getting screwed over. Other people are saying, no, 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 no. It's the deadlines that are the problem. Like everyone has their own spin on what the problem is and what they actually want the new deal for animation to be. So I went into this hashtag completely confused what the problem actually was at first. I had to like dig a little bit to actually figure out like, oh, okay, so the Cuphead actually, that's what sparked this conversation. Breaking, Netflix plans to release the next 5 seasons of the Cuphead show at the end of this year. All seasons will consist of 2 episodes each. That's pretty funny. I had to read that one out. That was pretty funny. Yeah. Anyway, I guess what was the petition that people were signing? Where did that tweet go? God damn it. Twitter's so bad how they update while I'm trying to like read something. I wanted to read what the petition was for, but now I don't know where it is. Now I can't find it. Where? Why? Help me. Oh, is this it? I will look at this. I gotta look at it. Oh, but first I gotta read the super chat. Thank you, Jagar. Child of many, how many kids do you have crammed behind the camera? Shh. Shh. Don't worry about it. Oh my gosh, the lighting's getting worse, isn't it? I guess it's getting darker out, so that's to be expected. We'll be fine. We'll be fine. Let me read this. Actually, should I? Oh man, they're just asking for my signature immediately. Okay, color designers need your support. Story artists need your support. Timing directors need your support. Writers need your support. So those four parts of the animation, they're the ones who need the. They're the ones. They're the ones who have problems, I guess. Let me share this actually, so you can actually see what I'm seeing. Let me get into this. All right. We were sending to emissions the Alliance of Motion Picture and Television Producers and Greater Entertainment Industry that you agree that the animation, color designers, story artists, timing directors, and writers all deserve to have their scale rates increased to fairly compensate for the work they are performing in their respective crafts. So, yeah, it's not about them being overworked. It's just solely about them being underpaid. They're all like, you know what? I'll do the extra work, but just pay me more, which is fair, I guess. Some people are willing to do extra work if their pays are just increased, but they could also be like, hey, hire more people instead. You could also be like, hey, I don't want to do all this extra work. Why don't you just hire more people with the money that you could have gave me a raise with? I don't know. Maybe I'm bad. I know. All right. Let's actually go to the problems here. Color design is the last stop in the design department with a final look and feel like characters, props. Blah, blah, blah. I know. Just tell me what the problem is. What is the problem? Over time, the position has grown in complexity due to changing technology and evolving art styles, both of which have placed additional responsibilities on these members. What? What are the responsibilities? I mean, if anything, shouldn't you argue that the advancements in technology have made it easier? What else are they doing besides? I don't know. Despite working side by side in the pipeline and utilizing comparable skills in their peers, color designers have been arbitrarily separated from their design colleagues. Character, prop design, background layout, background paint are all classified together under the animation section of the Animation Guild contract and share the exact same pay scale minimums. Color design is the sole exception, being regulated to archaic ink and paint section with a 14.4% lower minimum rate, an unfortunate remnant of gender pay bias. Really? That's what it is. I don't know about that. Uh, from the early days of animation, really? You sure it's just not because, you know, coloring in is literally something a 3-year-old can do? Which is why they have, like, coloring books. I'm just saying, it's okay to be critical. It's okay. I agree. Animation's hard, and some people do get screwed over, especially in Japan. But I think it's pretty fair to also be critical when like controversy happens, and it turns out people just want to like spark controversy as an excuse for like asking for more money. It happens. It happens. In the inequities don't end there. To learn more, go to this fucking other website. Man, I'm sorry, I don't have the time. All right, storyboard artists. I'm actually pretty interested to hear storyboard, because I do think that storyboard artists have been doing way more work lately. I actually agree. I think that storyboard artists have been doing way more because they're a lot of them are expected to basically do some animation and just to lighten the load on the actual animation department. So I can sort of agree with this one. Okay. Been shouldering responsibilities of multiple crafts and classifications. As a result, jobs are disappearing. Well, then why don't you hire more people instead of asking for it? Demand more people get hired instead of asking for a raise. What? That's different. They're not going to do both. They're either going to give you more work and higher money, or they're going to hire more people to split up the work. They're not going to give you more money and hire more people. That's not how this works. I'm sorry. I'm just saying, it's okay to be critical, right? It's okay to be a little bit critical. Character layout and cleanup jobs, for example, have almost completely gone extinct. Storyboard artists continue to absorb additional duties like writing, timing, model design. Where yes, that's another thing. Storyboard artists have been writing in a lot of scenes lately. I've heard about that too. So I can kind of agree with this one that storyboard artists are doing way more work than they should be doing, than what's really their job to do, right? But sometimes they want to do more work because they want to move on to a different job. They want to like get promoted to a writing job or a bigger animation job that pays more, right? So sometimes it's because they're trying to prove that they can do more work or that their talents are flexible. Other times it's just because they're being taken advantage of. And that's no good. That's no good. If I can get the Sonic clip in here. Yeah. Despite all this, storyboard artist pay has not changed since the craft's inception. And the time allotted for storyboard artists to complete this work has nearly halved. This job creep affects and what? You ever just read a phrase and you have to like stop just to be like, what the fuck? What does that mean? This job creep. What? This job what? Affects animation crafts across the board. Timers, designers, writers, and even editors. We stand okay. Anyway. So I agree with the storyboard artist one. I'm still super confused about how color designers are included on this. I don't, because they don't actually really. Do they list? It doesn't sound like they list any extra work that the color designers are doing. It just seems like they're doing the same work that they've always done. So I don't understand what the problem is. Anyway, timing directors. Animation timing directors play a crucial role in making strong, entertaining shows. We coax the best possible character performances from overseas animators because we analyze and communicate as animators and direct each other to characters' performances frame by frame. Our main work. Okay. Okay, finesse every joke to hit the best talent. Okay. Many timing directors are currently paid by freelance. That's another thing. That's something that it's the same thing for storyboarders though. Storyboarders are also paid freelance a lot of the time. Didn't mention that. Didn't mention that there. Gotta update this petition. Update. Yeah. That is bad. That is freelancers they usually don't get paid shit. But they're also like not going to be included in a fucking union. They're not included in your union petition, so it's not like you can help them with that. Freelancers just have to demand more money, basically. They just have to learn to say, "Hey, I want more." So yeah, that's how that works. That's how that works. You get paid how much you want to get paid, right? If you're doing freelance, you may work 60 hours to be paid for a normal week and lose health coverage because of hours we actually work not being calculated according to freelance formulas. Timing directors stand. Okay, same thing. We stand in solidarity. I don't want to read that part every single time. I'm sorry. I have a thing with redundancy. All right, writers, here we go. Here come I'm sensing controversy. I'm sensing some spice coming with the writers portion of this petition. All right, starting point for animation. I agree. Strong foundation. Most importantly, we do the same work as our live action kin in the WGA. Yet 839's animation 839's animation writers make half of what live action writers make. No shit. What the fuck are you doing? Okay, no. Make your case. All right. Well, why do you want to get paid? I mean, okay, fine. You can argue maybe it requires the same amount of effort to write a cartoon that it does to write a live action movie or show. Maybe, I guess you could argue that. Although there are a lot of low effort cartoons as far as writing goes. So that's actually something that I've been complaining about, is that a lot of cartoons are written with very low effort. A lot of them. I mean, even Cuphead. I thought the Cuphead show was fine. I found it mildly enjoyable, but it's kind of low effort writing, you know? It's just enough. But now, okay, so now you want to claim you want to be paid the same as writers for live action shows, or specific live action shows, I assume, because they're only going to pick, for examples, they're only going to pick like the lowest writing job for a cartoon and the highest paying writing job for a live action show, and then they're going to compare those two together and be like, look at the disparity, oh, it's such a big difference. as if that's actually like an indicator, because I know how these work. We all know how these work, right? Yeah. It's a little bit of shadiness that goes down with every one of these controversies. It's unfortunate. I really wish that people could make their point while also being honest. I mean, because to some, I do agree that like animators get like some bad deals, really bad deals. But if you can't make your point and also be honest, then I don't see this going anywhere. All right. Our creations are some of the biggest, most profitable. Oh, no, that's not true. Cartoons for a really long time weren't making a lot of profit. I mean, that's part of the reason why a lot of very popular cartoons get canceled, because they're not seeing a return and cartoons are really expensive. If anything, you should be saying anime. Anime is profitable, but you're not anime. Animation in the US is not anime, and you can't compare the two industries together. You just can't. That's very dishonest, you know? Okay. The idea that cartoons are not serious business is an excuse used to ignore the serious exploitation animation workers of every kind face. Yeah. Yeah, it's not like, any cartoons are written badly or anything. All right, whatever. Okay. So that's all of it. These are the list of the complaints. The one that I agree the most with right now is I agree that freelancers usually get paid shit, but also the thing with freelancing is you're the one choosing your pay. If you want to work for a shitty rate, that's your decision. You can say no. And you can argue, oh, well, then they'll just find somebody else to do it who will work for that shitty rate. And they can say no too. All of you can simultaneously say no, and they will have no choice but to raise the rate or raise their offer. That's how that works. You have to bargain with them to get them to give you a fair rate. That's how anything works. If they can pay you less, they will. So I agree with the freelance thing, but I also agree with the storyboarders. I think storyboarders are overworked these days. I think they're doing a lot more work than is normal for what the job description actually is. And there's a bunch of reasons why they're doing more work. I don't think it's always the industry to blame, but I think that if they're the ones pulling the cartoon along and they're not getting paid a fair amount, then that should obviously change. Right? All right. So that wraps up. Oh my god, it got so dark. I just looked at the camera now. I didn't realize how dark it gotten in this room. We're gonna wrap up this stream in a few minutes anyways. My laptop is running off of its battery right now. It's about to die. So we'll wrap this up. But yeah, thank you guys for joining me on the stream. Thank you for listening to my rantings, by the way. Like I said, it's very frustrating to see a controversy spark about animation, and I kind of want to agree with them. Like, yeah, animators do get like a shitty rap. They do get a shitty deal, The Cuphead thing, that is a shitty deal that you did one season and it got split into 2 seasons instead of them actually paying for a second season. That's kind of shitty, right? But then when I get into the details of this hashtag new animation deal, I see that it's like, it's kind of shady. They're kind of giving you half truths and they're kind of stretching it a bit just to get an excuse for more pay, basically. Which I guess is to be expected. I mean, if you could start a controversy to get paid more for your job, a lot of people would do it. A lot of people would do it. Yeah. But honesty is the best policy. That's what I think. I think you should always try to be honest and make your point. Make your point with honest points. But yeah, Netflix is shady. They shouldn't do that. I think we can all agree on that one. Oh, thanks for the donation, Maverick Christian. Here's some money for you to read this super chat. There you go. Perfect. And thank you, Jagar. End stream and find you guitar. I will do that. All right. Let me refresh the campaign before I skedaddle. And what are we at right now? We are at 78. Hell yeah, man. Oh, I'm not sharing my screen. You can't see. That would help if I actually showed you what I was looking at, huh? There we are, 78%. Hell yeah. Oh, you guys don't have to worry, by the way. I'll break even, at least, even if I don't reach my goal. So But if you are interested in it, I'll post another link. And you can also read the digital version of book one. If you haven't read book one, or if you don't have the first comic, there is a digital version on my website where I post all my comics. I'm getting my friends' comics to also go on this website. We're all going to be indies together, and yeah, it's going to be fun. So you can get the digital version on there if you did want to read it and see for yourself if you are actually interested in getting the second issue, because naturally you have to read the first one. I mean, granted, I do recap the first one in the second issue, so you'll know what's going on regardless, but it's always better just to read the first one first. Grant, you can expect that, right? All right. Thank you, Mr. Super Chat. Did I miss a super chat, guys? Oh, did I think I missed a super chat from Sukasa. I think. Sukasa. Honestly, if there was a way to give a production team a percentage of profits, a lot of these issues would evaporate. Never gonna happen, though. You see, that's another slippery slope, though. If you give them like a 1% of profits to, well, even 1% is like too high, because if you have like 100 people working on the team, then you just like don't make any profit at all. But if you were to give like the animators a certain percentage or half percentage of profits, they would just claim it's not enough. The goalpost will always move no matter what. I think that it's really just more about a conversation of fairness. What's fair, right? But people are always going to complain no matter what. Is another thing to note. I think if people are doing more work, then they should get paid more. Simple as that. But if they're not, and they're just like, making outrageous claims like, why don't I get paid as much as the writers on Friends? Then I think that's kind of silly. Oh, and Matthew Port did a super sticker. I can't see what it is, but I'm on StreamYard, so it doesn't show up. But you guys can see what it is. So, fun on a bun. Very true. Yes. So thank you guys for joining me. Another successful Friday with Dannphan, despite the bad lighting and whatnot. There's going to be bad lighting in every live stream. I can't do anything about it. Come on, guys. All right. I'm going to get back to my life on the other side of the screen. But have a great weekend, guys. I'm going to see you guys next week. We're going to have some guests on. So that'll be fun. Thank you for watching. And I'll see you next time, guys. Bye. Bye-bye.